Hi, it's Bernina Jeff at High Fashion Sewing in Grand Junction, Colorado. Today we're going to go through a couple issues I see new customers have with their 7 series and 5 series and 4 series. I call it the blue screen of failure and the gears of fears, because when these come up on your brand new machine, you are totally afraid that you broke it. So here's what's going on is if the machine turns on and it is bound up, you will get a blue screen. I'm holding onto the hand wheel to show you that the machine initializes and it tries to turn the motor a little bit. If it can't turn the motor, you will get the machine will stop trying to turn and you will get a main sync failure error. It's a blue screen of death basically on your machine. And I get calls all the time when they bring them in and says, I broke my machine already. So I'm holding onto the wheel. The machine's trying to sync up. The motor just tried to sync up. Well, it must have turned just enough to sync up. I'm going to redo this again. So we're going to hold on to this as it turns on, and it should have a main sync error because it's trying to turn the hand wheel and it can't find things. So give it a second and hopefully it'll have an error this time, the failure. And it's no big deal. It's because the machine cannot turn. So if this does happen, you want to open up your bobbin case, take the hook out, make sure that that's turning, and then try turning on again. So here we go. It says error 110, main drive sync failed, restart machine. So before you just restart the machine, make sure that the hand wheel turns easily. If it doesn't, make sure it's not clogged up in here. I've seen threads make the hook not turn. So if I go and restart the machine because it's all clear and nothing jammed up, it'll be just fine. So the other thing to check in, and I've seen this happen on several 7 series, is people will have their spool of thread up here and the thread's dangling and it starts wrapping around inside the hand wheel. So this hand wheel comes off and there is a amount of thread in here. It looks like 3 or 4 spools full of thread, and that's keeping the machine from turning. So this hand wheel is designed just to pop off and pop back on. So that's an easy thing to check. You don't have to take it in for that. So now I'm going to turn it back on, see if we have, you'll actually see the hand wheel turn a little bit and it will start initializing. So that is the blue screen of failure. And it scares the heck out of you. It's just like a blue screen on your computer. Uh-oh, it's going to be messed up forever. Now I'm going to show you the gears of fears. The gears of fears come up when the machine has initialized properly and it is in a bind somewhere. So the machine is trying to sew. I'm going to go to the sewing mode. But for some reason it can't move the motor. The motor can't move the machine. So it'll come up with this screen with 2 big gears and an X through it. And everybody thinks they just broke their $5,000 machine. So I am going to try to start sewing. And while I do that, I'm going to hold onto the hand wheel to generate a bind. So here's my sewing. It's also telling me I don't have the right foot on, so I'm going to tell it I have the 1C foot on and confirm that. All these are protection devices built into the machine, because if you had a zipper foot on and you started sewing with the needle in the middle position, you're going to break something. So all these things that you have to do to start sewing are protecting the machine, and you will get really accustomed to them. So now I'm going to try to start sewing, and I'm going to put the machine in a bind by holding on the hand wheel. Now I'm holding on the hand wheel, it's trying to turn, and now I get the gears of fears. So you get the 2 gears, a big X, and it doesn't tell you anything to do. This is because it's a multinational machine. They put words in English up here, it wouldn't mean anything to somebody in Russia. So it's just an icon. So at this point you want to check the X and then rotate your machine. Again, you want to make sure there's not a bind in the hook area, that it turns easily. If it turns easily, I can start sewing now. It's all happy. Now, If it binds and gives you the gears of fears every time you hit the scissors button, first try cleaning the thread catcher. I have a video on the thread catcher. And if that doesn't do, and every time you hit the thread cutter and it binds up, you need to take it into your dealer right away, because that thread catcher needs to be serviced. They get bent down there sometimes, and just happens. Now, since my last video, I have developed a little preventative part for your machine. I have a bobbin winder protector. It just has I stamp a hole and I put a slot in it. So when you put your machine in your travel case, your bobbin winder will not get bent or damaged. I've seen these bobbin winders so bent they fill the thread at a big angle. The knobs on the front are very fragile. So I took this is the foam that comes in the top part of your 7 series, and I stamped the right holes in the right place, and now that will protect your knobs while you're traveling. So I'm selling these for $8, which includes shipping, the set, $5 for the set, $3 for the shipping. And you can contact us at High Fashion Sewing at 970-256-1293 and ask for the knob and bobbin winder protectors. And this will work on the 7 series. I have a version for the 5 and the 4 series also. So they're a little different size. And happy sewing. Remember, if you haven't seen my video on the precision oil tip oiler, there's one on how to oil your Bernina, and that $12 thing of oil is just the best way to oil your machine. Thank you again. Please subscribe. This is Jeff at High Fashion Sewing. Bernina Jeff. Thanks.